You shouldn't do things differently just because they're different. They need to be better. Elon Musk. If you know the Slovakian gun company Grand Power, not to be confused with the Slovenian gun company Arex, then you probably know them for the Stribog, a well-made pistol caliber carbine that has a premium build without the premium price. But what if I told you this wasn't their best gun? At least not to me, not by a bit. No, if you want something your shooting buddies and budettes will fight over when you get to the range, then I have just the thing for you. The K100 X-Trim. It isn't new, originally coming stateside in 2015, but the lack of love or public recognition since is almost criminal. It looks, feels, and shoots like a gun with a very different approach to the status quo, and for a price that seems like a typo.
I tried to reason with him. Oh, hello! I didn't see you there. I wouldn't go in there. They're having a very bad day. It seems like a great time to tell you about our sponsors, X-Star USA, makers of the lovely EP9 pistol. It's a polymer frame pistol caliber carbine. It's made in Arizona, and it works wonderfully. It's a family-owned operation, and they're masters of their craft. The Generation 2 just came out for that, and we will be shooting one very soon, so you should check it out. Do haste! If you can't find one in stock right away, make sure to put in your email address on the waiting list, and they will notify you as soon as they're in stock. Also, ammo for this episode was provided by Global Ordnance, a very wonderful company out of Sarasota, Florida. Importers also of the K100 that we will be shooting in this video. Thank you to them. Ammo gets very expensive when you try to shoot a lot of it. Also, thanks to Axle Hearing Protection, one of our affiliate links. They have 29 decibels of hearing protection and long battery life. Longer life than they. Also, make sure to check out our friends over at Man with a Beard Co. They make beard oils that are very wonderful, and they will keep you, well, I don't have much of a beard. Soon I will. Also check out our Blackout Coffee and some of the other affiliate links below. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of the show.
Those who see and shoot the K100 X-Trim might think it's a competition gun, but such guns are typically narrow-purposed, sometimes wildly impractical outside of a course, and often expensive, like picking up groceries in a Formula One car. And while the X-Trim shares cues with its Excalibur competition cousin, it's more John Wick than Max Verstappen, and far from narrow, impractical, or expensive. It features a 4.25-inch steel rotating barrel with a blue finish, which protects against corrosion, while the other internal metal parts are hardened and protected by a Tenifer finish. The barrel is cammed by a polished steel pin that sits just below and perpendicular to the barrel. Build quality on the barrel, the rotary system, and the gun as a whole is rather excellent, so if you thought that different would result in cheap, sorry? Up top, the steel slide has been milled to the extreme. Get it? Like X-Trim. These lightning cuts and other aggressive milling points add lightness and a very aggressive texture for manipulation both front and back. The surface is matted to reduce glare and topped off with a blue finish. The front sight is fiber optic with a blacked out steel sight in the back. They're very clear and very easy to be accurate with. The frame is polymer and very ergonomic with an accessory rail up front, which we have an Inforce Wild 2 on, which is my pistol light of choice. The texture on the grip is less aggressive and lacks the moss-like stippling found on most modern handguns, but it works well, and the 4 included back straps accommodate a very wide variety of hands. They can be removed and swapped without special tools, just anything you can use to pry it out, like an Allen wrench, which is a big plus. Dry weight is 29 ounces, which is right around what a full-sized 6-hour P320 runs, and the footprint is about the same as well. A lot of attention has been given to the controls. The slide release is easy to reach and manipulate despite sitting relatively flush to the body for a gun of this pedigree. The mag release is ambidextrous and huge on the left side, like competition huge, and I love it. Sorry lefties, you're stuck with this little guy. Wah wah wah. The safety is easy to reach and toggle out of the box. Like some other DASA guns, it will not engage unless the hammer is half or fully cocked. This is usually to prevent an external force from hitting a decocked hammer riding the firing pin on a chambered round, which could result in an unintended discharge, which is what my teachers called me growing up. There is no decocker, but the hammer is very grippy and relatively light, and therefore less anxiety-inducing when you drop it. Overall, the controls are kept very close to the frame and are relatively snag-resistant, further riding the competition daily gun hybrid line. The mag release is the only thing I could see being an issue in a concealed carry, but the press is deliberate enough to not intentionally or unintentionally drop, at least not for me, or at least in this stage of wear. The trigger is incredible, with probably the smoothest DASA trigger I've used to date. It's very light and single action, very crisp, and the reset is comically short and awesome. Double action is surprisingly light, but not dangerously so, and provides a smooth, predictable pull. Our K100 X-Trim came with 3 15-round mags, which are well made and have been very reliable. This provides a nice value and should save users money right off the bat, but I do wish there was some variety and capacity, like at least one with 17 rounds or more. There are only 3 peepholes and they have no distinction of capacity and are on the side of the mag rather than the back, meaning you have to be more deliberate to check remaining capacity. I couldn't locate any original magazines outside of 10 or 15 rounds. I mean, there's a 20-round mag floating around out there somewhere, but they're always out of stock, which is a real bummer because all Grand Power 9mm pistols use the same mag. I mean, not including the Stribog, that is a 9mm pistol, but all of the 9mm handguns use the same mags. 20 rounds would be perfect. I'm pretty sure it's a factory mag, and I can't find it. After months of looking, I can't find a single one. If you find one, please drop a comment below, let me know. You'll be doing me a solid. So your only option is to do extended base plates. The design is very similar to the CZ75 and Beretta 92 SF mags, but those will not fit without modification, and I cannot personally verify any fitment or reliability issues you may experience. So personally, I'd rather do the base plate thing or just improve my mag change speed. One of the biggest tricks up its sleeve is the unique rotating barrel recoil system we mentioned earlier, also known as rotary action, which most people will know from the Beretta PX4 series. Rather than a Browning tilting barrel system found on most modern handguns like this Glock, where the slide moves rearward and unlocks from the barrel hood, the hood moves down and the tip of the barrel tilts up. On the K100, as the slide moves rearward, the barrel unlocks and also moves rearward about ½ centimeter and rotates on its axis, always staying parallel to the frame. Likewise, because the frame is without accommodation for said tilting, the barrel can be mounted lower, and without the bulky square barrel hood, bringing the bore axis and center of gravity lower. I'd be curious if a suppressed rotary barrel would have less stress on it over time compared to a tilting barrel, the torque lifting the suppressor versus just rotating it. But then would the rotating barrel keep trying to unthread itself from the suppressor? I have questions. Unfortunately, I can't find any threaded barrels for the K100, and while Grand Power produced a Whisper variant for a very short period of time, finding one or a divorced barrel has proven very difficult. Grand Power, if you're watching, we'd love to get our hands on a Whisper barrel. I don't know how likely that is, but I'm putting it out there. Time to get this out of the way. While the takedown process of the K100 is relatively straightforward, reassembly is not.
I didn't know you could fly a plane! Why, yes! Land? No!
This is easily my biggest and maybe only real gripe with the gun, and I'd recommend figuring it out before hitting the range because we had one and only one malfunction, and it required a field strip. Our first teardown, we had so much trouble reassembling that we had to video call our buddy Graham Bates, who's an expert on Grand Power, and he had to guide us through the process. Now, this was more of a laughing experience than a teeth-grinding one, and it wouldn't prevent me from buying the gun. But just be sure to master the technique if you get one, because it can be challenging, especially in the field. We're going to release a separate short video showing the process, and we'll link it down below when we finish. Don't worry, all the cursing will be bleeped. Now, the K100 X-Trim is based on the standard K100 Mark 12, a duty-style handgun with the same rotating barrel system. The original K100 dates back to 1994 in the mind and sketches of its creator, Jaroslav Kurachina, a former weapons officer for the Slovak army. Jaroslav, a firearms enthusiast and tinkerer since boyhood, was passionate and dedicated to creating a worthy handgun that his superiors would one day want to use as their service gun. Many of those officers didn't take his ideas seriously at the time, nor did many patent creators or banks that he sought help from, and his road to success was neither easy nor short. Fortunately, Yaroslav is neither impatient nor unresourceful, and he relentlessly pursued his vision to completion. The original K100, named after his surname, Kurachina, shared the main design elements we see on the MK12 generation guns we have today, including the rotating barrel assembly, the controls, and the basic frame design, and it formed the foundation and backbone of Grand Power. Since then, the K100 has spawned dozens of variants, including 22 long rifle, 380, 9mm, 10mm, 357 SIG, 45, compact versions, target, suppressed, and even a line of striker-fired models that I've heard on good authority are pretty awesome. I'm personally intrigued by the Excalibur, which is a maxed-out racy version of the X-Trim, with a 5.2-inch fluted barrel, competition-style controls, and a cinematic vibe that would easily land it as the main villain's preferred piece. The Excalibur is the extreme, and I dig it. So if the Excalibur was a full-fat race 911, the K100 X-Trim would be a GT3 or a GT3 Touring. I really should get a car channel going, eventually. A closing fun fact, Grand Power partnered with a small little company in Texas to import a batch of Mark VI K100s in 2008. The imported models were commercially called the GP6, presumably Grand Power K100 Mark VI, and that little Texas company was STI, known today as Staccato, creators of the 2011 or double stack 1911. I can hear a storm rolling in, so I better wrap this up fast. Shooting impressions. The K100 X-Trim shoots like a gun several times its price, and it's one of the best shooting pistols I've used to date. The trigger is incredible, both in single action and more impressively in double action. The effort is lower than other DASA guns I've shot, resulting in a smoother and lighter pull than you expect. For me, this reduced flinch and improved my overall accuracy. Combined with a short reset and low reciprocating mass of the gutted slide, it shoots fast and smooth. Thanks to the rotary action system, the low bore axis seems to mitigate muzzle rise, and the gun has very low perceived recoil. Sights take a little bit of getting used to at first, but they're very accurate and they make aiming feel deliberate and meaningful. The controls are outstanding and easy to be consistent with. Every gun should come with a mag release this pronounced and a safety this easy. I had no trouble with mag changes, and the base plates are easy to grab. As far as a training tool, having 3 mags versus the standard 2 means you can run more drills between reload sessions. Overall, they've struck an excellent balance between the lightweight frame, low bore axis, accurate sights, and easy controls while keeping everything daily driver enough where it fits in with most other full-size pistols. Concealed carry-wise, carried better than I expected, but if your primary purpose is carry, then I would steer you more towards the P1 Ultra, which is essentially a shorter barreled version with a lot of the same features. Reliability has been great. I wish I could say it was flawless, but after 700 rounds, we only experienced one malfunction. Around the 500 round mark, the gun jammed into battery and we discovered that the barrel was stuck to the slide near the rear of the ejection port and would only release if the barrel was depressed and manually rotated. Fortunately, breaking down the gun and lubricating, which we hadn't done for 400 rounds, especially around the barrel, fixed it, and we ran another 200 rounds without issue. I reached out to Grand Power, and turns out because this is a performance variant made to tighter tolerances, it's supposed to be run wet. And that's exactly what the gun wasn't. When it malfunctioned, it was very dry. Again, that's on us. You just got to read up on these things. And the gun came in a bag of lube. It was like some black market organ operation transplant. I should have known then, okay, I think this thing needs to be run wet. Price-wise, the MSRP of the K100 X-Trim is $700, but street prices, as of this video, can be found below $600, which is honestly kind of outrageous. If you want something wildly different and better shooting than a Glock 17 for around the same money, here you go. In conclusion, the K100 X-Trim has secured its place in our group as one of our favorite guns to shoot and is one of the best shooting handguns per dollar that I think you can find today. Everything about it feels deliberate and intentional in providing an excellent shooting experience without creating a list of compromises that go with it. So if you want an all-purpose pistol with a bigger emphasis on range day enjoyment and you don't mind something that breaks away from the standard mold, it's hard to get much different or better than this. Much like AREX, as we discussed in the last video, Grand Power seems criminally unknown outside of the Stribog, despite the rest of their products being very well made, incredible to shoot, and largely affordable. Yeah, the takedown process can be frustrating, aftermarket support is almost non-existent, and I do wish that there were more magazine capacities available, which kind of ties into the aftermarket support point. They're not deal breakers, they're just worth noting if you decide to pull the trigger on one. So again, I know I've already stated this, but if you're remotely on the enthusiast side and you want more enjoyment when you go shooting, but you don't want to spring for a 4-figure dedicated competition toy, check this thing out. I can't speak to how it performs next to the Beretta PX4. Those are known for being pretty awesome, well-made, and insanely durable, but maybe we'll get a chance to do a rotary barrel handgun showdown in the future. If you found this video helpful, please consider liking and subscribing. Check out our links below, and oh, Grand Power, just one last time, consider that whisper barrel. I don't know if they're forged in Mount Doom or maybe require a blood sacrifice, but as long as I don't have to kiss Nancy Pelosi on the pie hole, I'll do whatever it takes to get one. Thanks for watching, and stay safe out there. Huge. Creating a worthy handgun that his superiors would one day want to use as a service gun. This is the one. This is the one. I won't lose my shit. I won't lose my shit. Weather's been fighting me. It's not been the easiest video to shoot. We're gonna wrap it up good. It was a little too tight fitting to the slide. It's totally different with a pistol.
Then diversity will have no place. We don't want to promote hate. My friend here is emotional support because a friend in need is a friend indeed.